Breaking news from the ENG2 newsroom. Indigenous people of Canada have been losing their stance in Canadian society. There has been accelerated Indigenous language loss all around Canada, as well as discrimination against Aboriginal people in various ways, such as the crisis in residential schools, and the fact that those crimes are not truly being recognized. Here's Anastasia, live from Oakville.
Thanks, Marcus. I'm here today on call with the representative of the Indigenous Language Preservation Association, Jeremy Frederickson, with details on this issue.
Thank you. In Canada, we are faced with a plaguing issue. 65 of the nearly 60 different living Indigenous languages in Canada are classified by UNESCO as endangered. Indigenous languages are slowly going extinct. As of now, 96% of the world's 6,700 languages are spoken by 3% of the people. These languages are dying at an extreme rate. In fact, it is now estimated that one Indigenous language dies per week around the world. This issue isn't just a fact in Canada, but also the world, and we need to help keep these languages alive for the preservation of Indigenous cultures and to prevent the loss of heritage.
Thank you, Jeremy. Now back to Marcus to talk more about our Aboriginal culture loss, as it is a large problem facing our society.
Indeed it is. This issue of Indigenous language loss is not the only problem. The heinous crimes committed against Aboriginal people in residential schools from the 1870s to the 1990s is another crime committed against them. This is almost 120 years of terrible acts committed against these people. During this time, residential schools forced children out of their homes off to a school, sometimes thousands of miles away from their home, to be assimilated into Canadian culture. They were taught English and told never to speak their native tongue, or they would suffer one of the many cruel punishments performed in the schools. According to Where Are the Children, thousands of Aboriginal children died while in the care of the schools from malnourishment, disease, overexposure to extreme weather, physical abuse, and suicide. This issue is tragic to all Canadians, but we can still try and apologize and serve justice. This is slowly making progress, and on that note, I'll hand it back to you, Anastasia.
Thank you. In 2008, Stephen Harper issued a formal apology to the victims of residential schools and those who were negatively impacted by this chapter in our history. He talks about how the objective for residential schools were described as, and I quote, to kill the Indian in the child. He talked more about how the treatment of Aboriginal people during that time was unacceptable and that this was a dark era in our history. However this may be, most Indigenous people believe that more of an apology should be issued. Dwight Ball, the Premier in Newfoundland and Labrador, promised to apologize to residential school survivors as it had not been done yet, but he has yet to do so. The Indigenous people of Newfoundland have also spoken on Dwight and his apology, stating that as the Premier of their province, it is his obligation, and that it's time now to say enough is enough and that they want their apology. Even though money and apologies have been given to the victims, there is no amount of possessions or apologies that will ever live up to the trauma that us as Canadians have done to these people.
Thank you, Anastasia, for that insight. These issues have been long-lasting and need to be dealt with any way possible to help Indigenous people be recognized and treated as humans and not objects. This is Marcus Krodnik, live from the ENG2 newsroom, broadcasting for a better Canada.